Good evening, everybody. We are here. I am Vid, and joining me is RexGoDragon for our GSM versus Return of the Middle Sticks Diamond Semifinal here in the GRLCS Summer Splash.
Return of the Quarantine.
Return of the Quarantine, but most importantly, return of El Clasico. This is like the quintessential GRLCS matchup. Gecko Slammer Armageddon versus Return of the Middle Sticks. You can't have two teams that are older and still here.
Yeah, these two teams have quite a bit of history in GRLCS, and I'm going to be excited to see how these two duke it out in these finals. We have Graves and Yasuo already banned out, and Leona's going to be following suit.
Yeah, Maximus is a large proponent of the Leona, so they're going to be taking that away. The Braum actually to follow, being taken away from Catalyst. And really, if this is our El Clasico, GSM, Return of the Middle Sticks, both of them have been around basically since the very beginning. It's kind of our TSM CLG, or even the TSM Cloud9. And we, on the other hand, haven't been around that long, you having just joined here in the past in 2019, or no, 2020. You are a this year caster, aren't you?
Yes, sir. Yes, I am.
And me having only joined like 2 years ago, we're like the Cap and Azale. We are casting legacy beyond our time here in the GRLCS. But we are going to do our best.
Definitely going to be exciting. See the Lulu picked up first. That's pretty exciting to see. You know, a little Enchantress action with still pretty strong in terms of engaged supports. I still believe being pretty strong in the meta.
Yeah, and I think the most interesting thing about this Lulu first lock is that it does leave the option for like the Juggermaw, get Ian Hong on that hyper carry that he's so comfortable with, not really Kog'Maw specifically, but hyper carries in general. Hyper carries do so well with Lulu that it seems like GSM is almost dangling it on a stick like, hey, try and take away all of these hyper carries from Ian Hong. But with the Aphelios hovered, Return of the Middle Sticks might try and take it away. Ooh,
Aphelios still very strong, even after they made those changes to Dev's stance. He's still a pretty strong champion, regardless if he builds her or not. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see how GSM responds to the Aphelios, since he is already a pretty strong champion for what Riot thought he was going to be, like one of the lowest win rates on release.
yeah, and of course, it has been a fair while since his release, so it's not like we're really in that stage of, oh, he's going to break the game. But what we do have to worry about here for the GSM draft is how they work range advantages, because Aphelios is so good at tearing low-range teams apart. The Lulu bears pretty good fruit here for GSM because they can pick up a longer range hyper carry, the Kindred as well, having a ranged jungler. But Aphelios Volibear already suggests that they want to go in and kind of get in this melee range, bruisery, beat 'em up kind of team comp. Ashe going to be locked here for Ian Hong, so it's not, it's not Kog'Maw. It's much more utility focused.
Yeah, but I'll be honest, I actually like the Ashe pickup here, since, like you said, Aphelios destroys anyone with shorter range. Ashe kind of has the shorter range, but with the volley, she can kind of control a little bit of the fight on her terms, considering how she just disables Aphelios' ability to kite a little bit, as well as having the Enchanted Crystal Arrow to stop a lot of these engages that Volibear would have, or at least delay it a little bit, since Volibear has that reset on his Q whenever he gets CC'd, hard CC'd.
Yeah, so the Ashe going, as you said, very good at kind of anti-kiting the Aphelios, but the Blitzcrank here, it's a very immobile bot lane for Gecko Slammer Armageddon, so Maximus with his hands on the, the hook might bear some dividends here for Return of the Middle Sticks in the early game, as long as they can land those rocket grabs. Mordekaiser taken away from General Vici. They don't want him on that strong 1v1 champion. We actually saw it play last night into the Volibear, and it actually didn't work out.
Yeah, so they're just going to go ahead and ban it away regardless, because they might be flexing that Volibear into the jungle pick as well. Just to have a little bit more of these options, and also just protect the Aphelios just a little bit more. Don't have to worry about an ADC trying to 1v1 the top laner. And we're going to go ahead and see that Nidalee has been banned away along with Syndra.
Yeah, keeping the Syndra away from Evenifer, but more importantly, keeping the Nidalee away from Tendies. He has taken over so many games on his own here in the Summer Splash, and GSM is just doing their due diligence, seeing that the Nidalee wasn't picked up in the first rotation. It's a very aggressive blind pick, but they want to make sure that his two big carry champions in the jungle are going to be taken away, Rengar to follow. So now Return to the Middle Sticks either has to pick their jungler against the Kindred or blind pick a laner.
Right now we have Orianna hovered, which might say that they're looking to pick on a mid laner right now, delay it a little bit to see what they want, but they're going to go ahead and lock into Orianna for the mid lane.
And as a blind as a blind lane pick, I like Orianna just because of how safe she is. There's really not much you can do short of kind of like picking an all-in AD mid and trying to mess her up. So good pick here for that dang dude. Evenifer is going to have to answer since blue side has both picks here. It's going to be the LeBlanc. Interesting. A lot of burst damage here for GSM, and how are they going to round it out with their top lane for General Vici?
Yeah, they're looking to pick it. Right now they have a pretty squishy team, not a lot of peel on their team, but quite a bit of damage. They have the Lulu to help out just a little bit, using that wild growth ultimate in order to stop some of this burst, or at least some of this all-in damage. And it looks like they're going to round it out with Maokai. Pretty strong choice, has good lockdown for him.
And it is giving some much needed tankiness to this GSM team. Ashe, Kindred, LeBlanc. The Lulu provides a little bit of resilience, but she's not a tanky support. She's no Nautilus. So having that one big tank threat means that GSM is going to have a much better rounded team comp, and there's a lot more opportunities to engage here between the Grasping Roots from the Maokai, and then of course the Ashe Arrow.
Yep, and looks like Return to Milsits have rounded out their comp with Kha'Zix, a pretty strong early game jungler still. He does pretty well in the mid game if you choose to go with the Conqueror Kha'Zix, which I've seen mostly. And he can probably duel the Kindred quite well if he can get on top of her, and the Shiny Bidoof won't be able to get away necessarily, but we'll just have to see how well the lanes do as well for these rotations.
Yeah, this is an interesting one to see the Shiny Bidoof on more of a carry-oriented jungler, especially into Tendies, who has always been a carry-oriented jungler. This kind of turns into a skill matchup. Early, Kha'Zix should win just because he's got that, early level 3 full combo power spike. Kindred, if she can't get her marks, she has a lot more trouble scaling into the later game, but the 1v1s between them are super interesting because it tends to be a little more of a mind game matchup. If Kha'Zix blows his E early, Kindred can just beat the hell out of him, kite him to death, and everything. But if Kha'Zix is smart about it and calls Kindred's bluffs, that can be a lot of solo kills here for the Return to the Middle Sticks jungler.
Yeah, and if Tendies can get some of this early game pressure, we know that what he can do if once you give him a couple kills in the early game, he really knows how to translate that into more of this mid game, late game powerhouse for his laners. So that's going to be pretty interesting. So let's go ahead and talk about these lane matchups. Maokai versus Volibear top. What do you think about this one?
Volibear should just be able to beat up early. Maokai, he has the built-in sustain passive, but Volibear does so much damage with his auto attacks and then using that W every 5 seconds that Maokai isn't going to have the ease of laning against, say, even an Aatrox, someone who spams his abilities fairly frequently while trying to trade. Maokai has a lot better time healing off of those. Volibear can just run you down and beat you to death with his autos. So before late game, General Vici's going to have a hell of a tough time. The Shiny Bidoof may have to come top in order to support his weak side top laner, because Liposuction Lane should be able to run away with the lane here.
Yeah, Volibear just has a lot of momentum in this game. Ever since he got his rework, he has seen some pretty good results from it. His kit still feels pretty much the same, other than his E changing quite tremendously, his ult moving to his passive, and then his new ult being something completely new, but pretty strong considering that they also have a Kha'Zix, so turret diving is a very possible threat that General Vici is going to have to be wary of at all times, especially with a strong early game jungler such as Tendies.
Yeah, and obviously GSM drafted this weak side Maokai, whereas Kazakh's Volibear is going to be very good at diving at level 6 once Volibear gets that ultimate. But meanwhile, it seems like GSM has kind of turned the tables in the mid lane. Oriana's safe, but LeBlanc very aggressive. What's your read on that lane?
Uh, so my read so far is that they both have a really good wave clear. LeBlanc a little bit more so once you reach level 6 because she has the option to just double W or lane. I think it's W. I don't really play much LeBlanc, but she has that option to use her W to clear out the wave, and then her ult W to still engage even after using it to kind of fake out the opponent. But if that dude can play this safely, I believe he's going to be a little more useful in these later parts of the game, especially because the lack of a tank on the side of GSM makes it really hard for them to really position normally, and they have to kind of go forward with their singular tank and just try to deal with whoever shows up in front of them as soon as they can, while LeBlanc is somewhere around this side.
So the onus here, of course, as you've mentioned, is on Ivenifer to kind of push a lead, either find a solo kill, and if he can't find a solo kill, he's got to be able to translate that into advantages for his team, whether that's whether that's objective control, turret pressure, or just killing Kha'Zix or keeping him busy. But this is the Conqueror Kha'Zix that you were talking about, so he will scale better into the late game, mid game of course, and then late game, especially against this squishy team.
Yep, and it looks like we're going to go ahead right into game here. So on the blue side, we have GSM, General Vici in the top lane playing Mordekaiser, the Shiny Bidoof playing Kindred in the jungle, Yennefer in the mid lane playing LeBlanc, and to round up the comp, we have Ashe and Lulu in the bot lane played by Ian Hong and Catalyst 7401.
Meanwhile, on the red side, return of the middle sticks hopping off their post. It's Liposuction lane in the top lane on Volibear, Tendies 2 in the jungle on Kha'Zix, Dat Dang Dude in the mid lane on Oriana, and Prodigium and Maximus 127 in the bot lane on Aphelios and Blitzcrank. And it looks like we've kind of got a 4v5 half invade. Venifer has been spotted out by Dat Dang Dude, but he is going to be safe from the Blitzcrank, so potentially just kind of a trade of red buffs here, or just vision control by return to the middle sticks on that red buff.
Yeah, having some of this early vision control is going to help out a ton for General Vici, specifically because they have Tendies start off on that red side. That means he has the option of rotating to top side really soon, but if they have these wards on early, that means they will be able to spot it out a lot sooner, and so General Vici would know to play a lot safer.
And there we go. Shiny Bidoof having gotten the red trinket here does mean that they will deny that vision, give Ian Hong a little bit extra gold. Tendies has also opted for the sweeper, but he used the ward trick. Actually, I think, did all of them use the ward trick? Because okay, Tendies did use the ward trick. Shiny Bidoof didn't. Tendies placed the ward on the other side of the red, and then went back to go get the sweeper. And first Q is going to go a little bit wide by Maximus.
Yeah, and not too much bot lane's getting some really good trades off, but that's just typical Ashe damage. And Liposuction lane is doing an excellent job at pushing General Vici down at a disadvantage. Look at this huge amounts of damage, and he gets first blood off of that. Wow.
Wait a minute. Okay, there we go. I was a little bit behind, but I think...
Okay.
Well, first blood did go over. Okay, it's 240 now. We missed first blood. Sorry on stream. Liposuction lane, yeah, as you said, you called it well. He just got so much damage off, and Vici did not respect it with the flash. So the kill was secured there by the top laner for return to the middle sticks, and General Vici was forced to teleport back to lane. Meanwhile, Tendies, he's going in on the Shiny Bidoof, and now Venifer moving forward, but that will be it. No kill there for the return to the middle sticks jungler.
Yeah, he's looking to try to relieve some of this pressure off of that thing, dude. He had to burn his flash earlier, so burning means that he loses a lot of his lane, safety against such a strong burst champion such as LeBlanc, and then still having Kindred somewhere in the area. Got to be careful of that, but with the Tendies relieving some of that pressure, it's going to help out a little bit. Liposuch in the lane still doing as he does, and as Volibear just pulling down General Vici, doing tons of damage.
And look at how much the Conqueror is doing there, where Liposuction Lane and General Vici are at similar levels of health, but now Lipo going back in, General Vici flashes, and it's not going to be enough. Another solo kill here for the Bear.
Ooh, and this weak side top laner is really not going to go in favor for GSM right now. They're not really getting, they could hope that even though Maokai is behind, that he'll still be the typical tanks that he can provide, but they're losing a lot of pressure. Yennefer is going to get ganked by Tendies. Tendies jumps right in, but Yennefer uses the chains in order to root him right up and keeps him a little safe.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, Return to the Middle Sticks is already 1,000 gold up, and that's pretty much all on Liposuction Lane. So what is this tree to do in this lane where you've got such a big bully here in General Vici, and now Catalyst has been pulled back, the Ignite used, Catalyst has Flash, is he going to commit it? He will. Prodigium cannot find anything other than some Ashe damage now. Shiny Bidoof is here. The E is used, and Ian Hong has just run down the Aphelios. Prodigium never used his Summoner spell. What?
He thought he was too confident. He was like, I don't need it, it's just an Ashe. But then he remembered, oh wait, it's an Ashe.
Yeah, frankly,
tons of damage if you let him in your range. Ooh!
And Ian Hong, is he gonna live? Maximus is chasing him down. Will he get the E in time? But no, the flash forward by Tendies. Oh, the shield from Catalyst. It's gonna keep Ian Hong alive.
That was huge for GSM right there, but Genovici might be getting all in here as well.
And yeah, and Lipo's just doing so much damage, and now Maximus has gone down. Catalyst will lose his life for it. And this bot lane has just gone from what we thought was going to be kind of slow to 3 kills traded in quick succession.
Yeah, it was pretty insane. It was really good off Catalyst taking in that hook for the ADC, make sure that they don't have to burn their flash, they can instead just burn Catalyst's at the very beginning, and then Ian Hong turning it around, getting kill off Prodigium. And ooh, top lane still getting killed.
Yeah, and Dat Dang Dude has teleported in. Dat Dang Dude burned a teleport. But that's 2 level 6s against Shiny Bidoof's level 4. Tendies as well as level 5. Can Shiny Bidoof get away? Dumpy comes in. He's going to use the ultimate. Shiny Bidoof is going to commit the flash to try and get away. He will succeed at the cost of his flash.
Yeah, this top side is not looking too great right now. Just because Liposuction has such a presence in the lane, keeping General Vici pushed on the tower means that Tendies has pretty much free reign to go into the Kindred's jungle, and it's not looking too great.
And now look at how much damage Catalyst and Ian Hong can do with the advantage offered by that first kill. Ian Hong has the advantage of not only is the Vampiric Scepter more expensive than the pickaxe, but also he's got 2 daggers on top of that, well on his way to a Blade of the Ruined King.
Yeah, and I'd imagine Ian Hong didn't opt in to buy the boots because I imagine that he also has the approach velocity inspiration. I could be lying here, but I think that's what they're doing, and he also opted in for the free boots because that's free 300 gold if you just wait a couple minutes.
Yeah, free stuff is always good here, and especially Ashe does like it, you know. Honestly, everyone really likes it. Free stuff isn't super bad unless you need to buy boots early, so I do like to take that as an ADC for a lot of different champions. So we'll have to see how the rest of this lane goes, because Maximus and Prodigium are fairly low compared to Ian Hong and Catalyst, and then Ian Hong and Catalyst have the go-in button with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow once they hit 6.
but they do have to keep in mind that Tendies is, or at least they have to keep in mind that Tendies has the possibility of being in the area, and you don't really want to overextend while there's a Kha'Zix, even though bot lane is a little more scarier lane to gank whenever you are a Kha'Zix, because there's 2 champions right there, you can just stand right next to each other.
Yeah, bot lane's always hard to gank. I say this as a former Kha'Zix main, and still a once-in-a-while player of him, but now Tendies might be finding Shiny Bidoof. He will. There is no contest on that kill, and now the Dragon will go over. It's technically a steal here for Return to the Middle Sticks. Catalyst gets pulled back in, and he will be going down shortly after the Wild Growth has been popped. Tendies moving forward. Can Ian Hong stay close enough in range to keep the isolation from going off? Tendies, he's going so low, but will he die? Ian Hong taking so much damage. Maximus just needs one more hit, and Prodigium will take it with the Moonlight Vigil.
Ooh, that was, originally it was looking pretty good for the bot lane, but with that little play that Shiny Bidoof made where he fell to Tendies and Catalyst trying to help him out, it just turned that around and looks like the bot lane's in favor, while the mid lane, ooh.
Holy crap, that dang dude gonna find a solo kill on Yennefer. And this game went from fairly close still to just all Return to the Middle Sticks in the span of less than a minute. 3,000 gold lead almost as Prodigium and Maximus take yet another plate here in the bot lane.
Yeah, another plate for them, and a solo kill for Genovici. He is stepping up to Liposuction, which is kind of a little strange. I mean, he has Shiny Bidoof in the area, and looks like, ooh, okay. Looks like he's going to be able to get it out there because of the ultimate.
Barely, by the skin of his teeth, the bear will get out, and unfortunately GSM are not able to find anything. And so far, take a quick Kindred check here. Has no stacks and may be killed here by Tendies. The Lamb's Respite is down, Shiny Bidoof doesn't have flash, and Tendies just gonna put in so much work. He picks up a solo kill. General Vici's here, and so is Yennefer, but it's now a 2v2 as Liposuction Lane comes in. No, scratch that, 2v1, because the bug is squashed.
Yeah, I'm imagining that a lot of their, for GSM right now, they need to be playing off of a little more off this mid lanes, considering that it's a LeBlanc, and she has a very good, early to mid game, still pretty good in the late game as well, so maybe needs to try to play off around there a little more instead of trying to stick around to the top side where you again have weak side top lane.
Yeah, I mean, Yennefer at this point is really the one who can help them get picks and get back into the game, so that's, again, as you said, where they need to focus. They're not really going to do that through a Maokai. And then I think Ashe and Lulu, they are a good late game play, but when you're 3k behind at 11 minutes, you really need to look at more surviving the next 5 to 10 minutes rather than kind of winning the game late. If you can get to 20 minutes, then you can start to look at Ashe and Lulu as your sort of team fight win condition.
Yeah, but for right now, it looks like they are going to be using Yennefer's little bit of influence and trying to block out at least that dang dude away from that area that Kindred's in order to try to get a little counter jungling going in. I don't know if that was her first stack or not. Don't believe it was, but still getting a little counter jungling is gonna help out.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the CS discrepancy. It's almost 20 CS, 18 CS between the two junglers, not to mention the kill differential, and it's just clear that Tendies is just, I mean, he's playing the better early game champion, but also he just seems so much more comfortable on this Kha'Zix than Shiny Bidoof is on this Kindred. We might see a shakeup in draft after this, because if I had to identify a weak point here in the draft in just player playstyle, it's right here on the screen on this Kindred.
Yeah, this Kindred is a nice choice, has a late game possibility, but honestly I prefer some of the Shiny Bidoof's other picks, such as like Gragas, where it's just so much more useful for the team. Even if you go AP Gragas, just having that extra bit of CC on your team really does you wonders for at least being able to do something.
Oop, the hook goes a little bit wide, so Maximus may get run down here. He will have to flash. Just knowing that if he doesn't flash, he may end up like his ADC did in the early game.
Yeah, while in the top lane, looks like they're duking out a little long, but non-perception lane just evening it right out. But Genovici kind of healing a little bit thanks to his passive.
Yeah, I mean, look at the amount of damage that Liposuction Lane was able to do that General Vici then healed up. This is the power of the Maokai passive as you get later and later into the game, because it scales better. So now General Vici isn't just healing like 150 health, he's healing 300 health or so, and he's doing it more often because Liposuction Lane is just poking with his E more instead of going for these all-ins. It's an interesting thing to see against a Maokai lane, because as you get less confident, specifically for a Volibear, as you get less confident in your fighting, you actually make Maokai stronger. If you're not taking all-ins, you're making him stronger by allowing him to heal more.
Yeah, it looks like Return to Middle States is looking to take this second dragon. They were just given that first dragon, and they're going to go ahead and take the second one, opening up for Soul, which is going to be a Mountain Drake.
Yeah, the Mountain Drake brewing here, and that's gonna, I mean, with 1.5 tanks really on the red side for Return of the Middle Sticks, that's better than the 1 tank for GSM. But really, this isn't like a great soul for either team. It's just important to have those free stats. And oh man, that's Catalyst going very low. And he is going to have to use a Wild Growth. Maximus, however, will go very low himself. Ian Hong now exhausted by Prodigium, but Ash is just putting out so much damage. Tendies, though, he could come in. Is he going to dare the tower dive? Maximus should have his Q back up. Is a rocket grab going to land? No, it will not. Shiny Bidoof is here. Tendies on the run. The flash forward by the Kindred, and Prodigium will have to flash as well. Tendies is going to get away thanks to the root by the Gravitum.
That was well played there. It looks like they wanted to hover around for a tower dive, potentially if Maximus was able to land a rocket grab. But unfortunately, he did miss, and Shiny Bidoof maybe exposed himself a little too soon. If he waited maybe a little bit longer, Tendies might have committed a little bit more into that.
General Vici! He finds a return solo kill here. I didn't think there was going to be anything that happened because Lipo still had flash, but man, even through the grievous wounds, he had the damage in order to just beat down the bear.
Yeah, that's quite the surprise considering that, you know, Life of Such has that Conqueror, has that extra bit of damage and healing being against a tank such as Maokai, but he just ended up losing out on that trade. Losing out on the trade and then the all-in.
And look at the rest of the lane state, actually. General Vici is up 20 CS on Liposuction lane, and Lipo never got any turret plates. So I wonder what happened in that lane, that Liposuction lane had 2 solo kills and then didn't push it any further, didn't have Tendies coming up there, or even didn't swap lanes with Dat Dang Dude in order to help, help the Orianna beat up on the weak Maokai. And now, Prodigium, he may find himself caught as well. Shiny Bidoof going to go forward. The Severum ultimate is out, but it's not going to do enough. The shutdown comes through. Prodigium is down, and now Liposuction Lane has teleported in, but Yevenifer is here, making it a 3v3, 4v3, 5v3, but now Lane goes down. Shiny Bidoof as well. Yevenifer taking a lot of damage from Dat Dang Dude, but General Vici in the middle of the mix. Maximus is going to go low. Will he go down? But he catches Yevenifer first. It will be a kill. Picked up. General Vici, can he dive under the tower? I don't think he wants to. Meanwhile, Tendies wasn't there at all. He was taking the Rift Herald the whole time.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a 2 for 3 in favor of GSM right there. However, Return to Middle States was able to take the Herald all by himself and possibly this tower because General Vici might not be able to protect it that much longer.
It's funny, if he could get in range to auto attack, he would be able to stop the tower, because Dat Dang Dude wouldn't be able to deal with the healing. You could just beat him down. But first turret, very likely to go down here in the bot lane. We do have a little bit of a pause coming out. It looked like Yevenifer disconnected, possibly connection issues or something. But let's break down that fight a little bit, because that was kind of wacky. Everyone joined in.
Yeah, so it started off with whenever the camera cut over to here, we saw Ian Hong, Catalyst, and I believe the Shiny Bidoof was already in the area, going ahead and catching out on man, I say his name sometimes, but I can't. I'm just gonna say Aphelios. They managed to catch out the Aphelios, use the wild growth onto the Ash, make sure that they were still full health, and then Shiny Beauty came around. I remember seeing a TP from Liposuction lane, and that dang dude was coming through from lane and from bot lane. He walked all the way down, and they managed to get a huge ulti, which got Ian once again. Catalyst got really low by Liposuction, but the Shiny Beetle used the ultimate in order to stop Catalyst from dying, but Catalyst already committed a flash. And anything else I'm missing?
Well, I did want to highlight the one play by Maximus where Yevenifer did go in, managed to get a kill, but then Yevenifer jumped out, and the Maximus hook there actually managed to secure that. Otherwise, it would have been a 3-for-1. Here we see Catalyst just way out of position, and now Tendies might try and find the double. Ian Hong is going to get flashed on and killed. Tendies, one more minion attack will do it.
Ooh.
So actually, they get something back there.
Yeah, full kills credit onto or for Ian Hong is going to be pretty nice. It looks like Yennefer is going to be trying to defend this tower, but not going to be able to do too much. Had to dodge away from the Blitzcrank grab, so couldn't use both parts of the W in order to clear out the minion wave.
Yeah, and what we've learned from this game is that Return of the Middlesticks will build a lead, hand it back over, and then build it again. They went down to a 1k lead right after that bot lane fight. A couple of shutdowns were picked up, but then they stretched it back to now what is a 3k lead by taking all 3 of those outer turrets. So it's a good map movement there, knowing that they still have the advantage and pushing it hard. So now, in 15 seconds when the Mountain Drake comes up, GSM are going to have to try and fight this, even though they know now that they are at a significant disadvantage, because otherwise they're handing over a potential soul to their enemies in 5 minutes. 5 minutes being 25 minutes, which is just way too early to be giving over that big of an objective.
Especially because it would be Mountain Soul, which is a huge shield, and if you had trouble killing them previously, you're going to have even more trouble with the Mountain Soul shield.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw how much trouble they had killing them earlier in that other fight, but now Liposuction lane will get pulled in, but now, oh no, Catalyst has gotten pulled in before being able to use the Wild Growth. That is the Lamb's Respite, but General Vici flashes away to no avail. He's gonna die. It's the flash forward by Maximus. He's gonna knock up Shiny Bidoof and get him as well. It's 3-for-0 already, and the Mountain Soul, the Mountain Drake, is all but gone over to Return to the Middlesticks. They didn't lose a single member in that fight.
Yeah, I think they had a little bit of miscommunication on how they're going to engage. Jennifer is going to go ahead and pick up one more person, so it's not all for nothing, at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a total loss, but man, putting your opponents on soul point here at 20 minutes, they've got a 4.5k gold lead against their enemies. GSM, they looked good in that bot lane fight, but then they just kind of lost it there on the Dragon. Catalyst getting pulled in was just so unfortunate for that team.
Yeah, Catalyst was a little too far forward considering that you have this one tank, General Vici, and he got pulled in by the shockwave from that dang dude, and then since Catalyst was just too close to General Vici, he was pulled in by the shockwave as well, and then rocket grabs by Maximus, which really kind of set the tone for the rest of that fight, where it ended up as a 3-for-0, and then Yennefer picking up one more kill to try to even it out.
Yeah, it just feels bad here. I mean, Return of the Middlesticks played that really well. They had priority. Dat dang dude got a really good shockwave that even if it hadn't hit 2 members, it would have zoned hard enough that GSM would have had to split and then risk getting picked. But everything just kind of came up Return of the Middlesticks here, and it may come up Return of the Middlesticks again if Liposuction lane can get this Herald to crash onto the bot lane tier 2. Looks like General Vici wants to keep that from happening, though. He is going to use everything trying to stop this, even though Lipo's there to fight.
Yeah, it looks like he will be able to take down that Herald before it gets to the tower, but still generating some pressures considering that the Kindred is now in the area. Seeing that Liposuction is down in the bot lane, he is pretty strong. He has an item now, so there is potential for him to be able to get out against General Vici. So it looks like Shiny Vito who wants to clear out some waves near there and try to protect their bot side.
So it looks like GSM has been able to kind of let this stall out for a little bit, which works in their favor. They are fairly far behind, almost brushing 5k now, but they do still have a lot of power left here. Ian Hong does get stronger in the later game, even though Prodigium is super strong. Tendies should scale off Liposuction lane as well, starts to get shredded here by the combination of Kindred and Ashe. So as long as GSM can just kind of play this slow and let Return of the Middle Sticks outscale themselves, they might be looking a little bit better here when it comes to the 28-30 minute sort of mark, as long as they can keep Barons and Mountain Soul from going over.
Yeah, Rocket Grab goes out, but does not connect onto Catalyst. Unfortunate for Return of the Middle Sticks, but Baron on the map. We have both top laners in the bot side. Both TPs are available, so we'll see if what they're planning on doing. It looks like everyone's going to rotate down near towards the bot side with Drake spawning in about a minute 40.
And this is something that I always love to see, teams that are behind, but oh, Catalyst, oh no! He is going to use the Wild Growth on himself, and this actually might turn in GSM's favor. It does. May they find Tendies? They may not. But Catalyst getting pulled in by the Blitzcrank. It actually burns the Ignite for really not much. The Wild Growth and Enchanted Crystal Arrow are going to be up before any significant others are on the map. Say the Mountain Drake in a minute. All those cooldowns will be up by then.
Yeah, this is the big brand idea. You don't think that Lulu's a tank until she ults, and then she's just soaking up all this free damage. And
especially,
that's where you get your pick.
Yeah, especially when it's just the two of them. If Prodigium were there, I think the Lulu's dead 100%, but when it's just Maximus and Tendies, GSM is able to turn that around. They do manage to get themselves a nice kill. They are going to start to bring the gold lead back, and what I was saying before that entire thing elapsed was that I like to see teams that are behind and they don't just decide to group up against assassins, say Tendies. They want to let themselves actually be able to scale. They're going to go for that 1-1-1 where they put each of their carries in a lane in order to get the most out of the golden XP that those offer. So I'm really glad to see that, because sometimes teams get scared and they don't want to do that, and that's just bad. It's just bad League of Legends.
Yeah, you don't really want to see your team group up as too often, even if you guys are behind, because you're missing out on a lot of resources that come up on the map. Now, with that said, we do have the Drake up right now, and they're looking for maybe a potential steal, but nope, no steal right there. It looks like they have the Dragon Soul.
Yeah, it wasn't really an opportunity, and Return of the Middle Sticks did a good job of denying vision there, making sure that GSM had to clear things before they could walk over to the pit. So Mountain Soul is over to Return of the Middle Sticks, makes them that much harder to kill. There aren't really that many tank stats on the side of Return of the Middle Sticks, but oh? Tendies isn't going to go down. He's barely going to break the shield. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow is out, and it's not going to do anything. So that's a big engage cooldown here, and Return to the Middle Sticks is going to take that as the go button. If GSM doesn't stop this, they may very well lose inhibitor turrets off of this Baron push.
Yeah, we still have General Vici down in the bot side. He's possibly looking towards around that Baron area for a TP, but it doesn't look like his team wants to engage on that, considering that the Ashe is just farming in the bot side jungle rather than rotating towards the area. Just going to let that go ahead and give it to the side of Return of Middle Sticks without trying to lose another team fight, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, losing the team fight there, the game's pretty much over 100%. Just giving away the Baron without being able to get anything back here, I'd say the game's over like 60, 75% maybe, but of course, that is a risk GSM is willing to take here, even though Return to the Middle Sticks has backed off. They're looking towards finishing their third items almost. Meanwhile, Yevenifer is working on 1.5, or 1.5 and a third of items.
Yeah, pretty close to some good breakpoints, but not actually meeting them. Oblivion Orb is a pretty nice purchase. You don't want to upgrade that into a Morelos necessarily because it's just not too much healing other than Prodigium's was Severum. But so you're just gonna go ahead and looking onto this next item, but you lose out on the benefit of having that full item extra bonus stat, whatever it may be.
Yeah, and of course the full item bonus stat here would be the Death Cap passive, which is so important for someone like LeBlanc who just needs to one combo her opponents in order to live. I think she should finish the Morellonomicon in a little bit because Prodigium, not only does he have, as you said, the Severum, but he also has Conqueror, and he's building that Death's Dance, and he's almost finished with it. I think on his next back he should be able to get it, and Tendy's disconnected, so we're going to take a quick pause here.
Yeah, and with that pause, hey, have you seen the new champion?
Yeah, so Lilia, the new champion, if you haven't seen her, she's like if Nico and Hecarim had a weird baby. She's like a deer Nico. She's got 4 legs and she's furry, but she's also Nico.
Yeah, Q, it's Hecarim. The E is the E's kind of unique. It goes on forever. It's pretty cool, but not really. I wouldn't necessarily say really fits any particular playstyle, but it's pretty cool. Right now, I think she's pretty busted as is. Her numbers aren't like her AP ratios aren't that high, but when you consider that her Q on the outer point portion, it deals the damage again, but true damage, and then her passive is 5% of enemy mat's health whenever you hit them with an ability. That just screams like you put Conqueror on her, Liandry's, Rallies, and then just like other AP items. I feel like she's going to be pretty busted considering that she hits like 55% extra movement speed whenever you have rank 5 Q.
Yeah, and I saw that she also has a sleep built into her kit, which everyone knows that is just everyone's favorite CC in the world.
Yeah. It's a little bit better than Zoe's in the fact that it's not true damage. It's magic damage. Just flat number magic damage. It doesn't matter how much you do. It's just a flat number magic damage. But it has the potential of getting a 5-man. And it's very easy to get that 5-man. You literally hit everyone with your Q, and then you just hit your R button, and everyone gets a slowdown bonus, slowdown debuff, and then they fall asleep for 2 to up to 3 seconds. And it looks like we're back in game.
Yeah, we are back in game. Lilia is not out yet. She's just barely been revealed. But what is here is Return of the Middlesticks shoving down mid lane. They've got all 5 members sitting around. And Prodigium has his Calibrum available, which means he will be able to siege very well against GSM here. Ian Hong, though, he's doing a lot, but oh no, he's going to have to flash away. The rocket grab isn't going to go anywhere. General Vici has ulted now. That is going to be Maximus taking a lot of damage, but can they survive it? Oh, the Gravism ultimate will be enough to get Catalyst into the Death Realm. Now, Liposuction Lane has jumped in, and he's going to find 2 more members. Ian Hong will make the 5th, and that is just an ace for Return of the Middlesticks. They are going to try and end this game clean before 30 minutes.
And it looks like they will be able to do so, considering the respawn timer is about 30 seconds, and they have minions and Baron buff even at that. So looks like this game is going to be, or the first game is going to be going towards Return of the Middlesticks. And yeah, congratulations to Return of the Middlesticks on this first game. I'd say Liposuction and Tendies played that early game not so much, considering that Liposuction ended up getting solo killed himself. Playing that mid game played very well, especially with the bot lane turning that around. I had to give it to the bot lane being able to get solo killed, and then, or not solo killed, but getting killed out and then turning it around, getting a huge lead for the Aphelios has to be pretty recognizable at least.
Yeah, I think Return of the Middlesticks, just in general, everyone on the team, and then as a team together, they played really well. Of course, there were some minor flubs there, like Liposuction Lane getting solo killed after solo killing twice, or that bot lane 2v2 that lost out for Return of the Middlesticks, as you just mentioned. But overall, I think they played really well as a team. They played to their win conditions. Tendies just out-jungled Shiny Bidoof 100%. So Next game for GSM, I really want to see them go a little bit back to their roots, see the Shiny Bidoof on a little more utility focused, maybe a tankier champion, Jarvan, Sejuani, Gragas, one of those in that vein, that you won't fall super hard to Tendies in the 1v1 early game. You'll just kind of outlast him, and neither of you will be able to kill each other. I think GSM needs to go back to their scaling mentality and just hunker down against Return of the Middlesticks. But this is just game 1. Return of the Middlesticks could try and end it out in 2 in the next game, or GSM will battle back. So don't go anywhere, because we will be back with game 2 of this series.
See ya.
welcome back. We are here for Game 2 of GSM versus Return of the Middle Stick. Same sides, running it back, and I think that Shiny Bidoof has been taken off of Kindred duty.
What do you mean? Why in Champs, right before we started up Champs Select, Shiny Beauty was like, hey, we're gonna run it back, same side, same teams,
Yeah, Liposuction Lane was
same band.
drooling for a handshake there. He wanted to
Uh,
know that that was true.
I mean, so far we're having the same bands as well, so but I imagine GSM is looking to turn it around from that point. We saw how well, just how well Return to Millicent's early game power is, and trying to match it up is quite difficult. So maybe the GSM is going to go back to their roots of stall and scale.
Yeah, and the big offenders I think we saw from this past game was like LeBlanc wasn't able to really get online in the way that LeBlanc needs to as a solo killer and an assassin. And then, of course, the Kindred was a big question mark there. It's not really in the style that we know Shiny Bidoof excels at. So, what I think they need to do is kind of go to a more control mage of a mid lane, maybe the Gragas, Sejuani, all of the things that I said earlier at the end of the last game. I think the Maokai was just a little bit of an execution flub on General Vici's part. I think he does well on it. He just needs to not die twice to a Volibear first.
But he did get a solo kill back. We do have to remember that he did get a solo kill back. And it looks like this time GSM is going to be handing out the Aphelios that was quite the monster last game.
Yeah, and really, honestly, it's more impressive that he got a solo kill after being solo killed twice. The Kindred hover. They're just trolling us, right? There's no way.
Oh, they're not running it back. Oh no.
Okay, they do lock the
Alright.
Volibear for themselves. And again, like last game, this could be a flex pick. I think it's much more Shiny Bidoof style than it is Tendi's to go for the Volibear jungle. But either really is a viable option here.
Yeah, Volibear does do quite well in terms of either top lane or the jungle. Having that sort of alright, so we're seeing a reverse. Looks like they handshake, but doing a reverse.
Wait, they're literally trading drafts. Is Return of the Middle Sticks gonna beat GSM with their own draft? Question mark?
And we have another Kindred hover, so hold on to your seats. Are we gonna see 5 Kindred hovers for the side of GSM, or is Return to Millicent's actually gonna pick the Kindred away?
Okay,
like
so it's
Ezreal's
not a
weapon.
trade of drafts. The Aphelios has been banned, but the Ezreal is a good pickup. Super safe, lots of consistent long-range damage. I think this is really good against the Lulu Ashe.
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, Lulu Ash has a lot of all-in potential, but Bard and Ezreal has a lot of poke damage. Bard getting those little stuns plus the meat damage in, and Ezreal hitting those man, it's been a while since I played. I've been spamming Valorant, and I'm forgetting a lot of these League of Legends abilities. Anyways, the Ezreal Q, doing quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, I mean, Mystic Shot does a lot of damage. The
Very
Bard,
big.
as you said, just good roaming, good. The Bard roams really well, and Ezreal being so safe with the Arcane Shift makes it so that Bard can roam without punishing his own lane. But the Ornn being locked in, interesting if this is a top lane matchup, because Volibear and Ornn in lore do have a lot of beef. Funny, because one's a bear and one's a goat. Neither of them are cows, no beef. But Ornn and Volibear both, they kind of counteract each other. Volibear, very good at brawling 1v1 early game. Ornn, much better in the late game. Literally scales into the late game the best. But the Syndra is banned from Yevenifer yet again.
And we won't be able to see any Syndra gameplay here, but let's see. Nidalee once again banned away. Gotta respect Tendi's and his early game jungle presence.
So the real question is, do they ban the Kha'Zix or the Rengar? Which one of the duo do they ban next? Because I have no doubt in my mind that they will be banning a second jungler here.
Yeah, I would be thinking so as well. Uh, Personally, I think I would ban away the Rengar still, just because Rengar has that passive to give him so much more damage than a Kha'Zix does. But Kha'Zix is better, a little bit better in the mid game in sense of, or not. If he's snowballing, Rengar's better. If he's not, Kha'Zix is better because he has that Conqueror option and he doesn't need to have that kills you in 0.5 seconds burst.
Please don't remind me of all of the fun that I have playing against a Fed Kha'Zix, but it will be actually the Orianna ban. I understand that because that dang dude just had so many good ults that kicked off team fights. The dragon one, in particular, is what I'm thinking of. And the Shyvana hover, I swear if that goes in, we're going to have so much fun in this game. Oh, I am just happy now.
AP Shyvana. You know, they
Dragon
said that they were
breath
going to
on these fools.
They said they were going to rework Shyvana because that was like the highest picked or voted for in China. But we haven't seen anything leaked for that. Plus, I think everyone's just has been enjoying the AP Shyvana playstyle rather than any other playstyle that Shyvana has.
Like, let's be real. Who complains about AP Shyvana as an unfun thing to play against? Really, people don't think about her until they have to play against her, and even then she's feast or famine. But for Shyvana players, having that AP just dragon breath on these fools is just so satisfying. It is literally the power fantasy of like, I am a giant dragon crawling over everything, spitting literal fire. My mixtape is too hot to handle, and the enemy team, it doesn't matter if they die or not. I'm throwing fire at them.
And while you were explaining about the throwing fire, we had Rumbles picked, which spits out fire as well, but the Kales also picked up. Here, I'm imagining that be like a top lane Kale, so we're going to see a Volibear in the jungle. It could be Rumble in the jungle, but I'm thinking that the Rumble would go mid lane.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Rumble in the jungle. It's probably an exercise in stupidity. So, Volibear for the jungle, tentatively, but that should be a Kale top against this Ornn, which I really like. GSM, not specifically getting the counter pick, but really just putting two weak side top laners against each other. Oh, unless are we seeing Liposuction lane go into the jungle? It's something we saw early in the split where Tendies took Irelia top and ruined the game for the enemy team. Meanwhile, Liposuction just kind of took like a fairly high utility jungler, not the same kind of carries that Tendies plays, and I think this is what we're seeing, where Liposuction goes into the jungle and Tendies is gonna just end General Vici's life.
Yeah, but instead of doing that high utility jungler, you have push one button, deal half the health bar. Really easy, really nice, really fun.
I love this draft for Return of the Middle Sticks. They brought so many, like, really Ornn shouldn't be a flex pick, but he kind of is, because he can go top or mid situationally. Then having just the person flex, the Shyvana, Shyvana to Liposuction lane, is such a good play here because they really baited GSM into taking such a weak top laner. The Kale will not be able to scale against an Irelia. Simple as that.
Yeah, I would like to see maybe if they could have moved the Kale into mid lane just to match up with the Ornn. But I wouldn't I wouldn't be surprised if Genovici and Yennefer just go ahead and switch lanes as they are, so then you have that weak side in the mid lane instead. Ornn has a little bit more power because of his roams with the Ornn horn, just proving a lot more success rather than what Kale can ever do. But you also have a little bit more security and not have to worry about necessarily a fed Irelia as much if you do have that Rumble to match up with her.
Yeah, so I think the one game that I've seen of Tendi's Irelia in the split, Return of the Middle Sticks actually lost. It was really funny because Tendi's Irelia dominated the game. He was like 7-2 in 10 minutes. And after that, the enemy team realized it's like, oh, well, Irelia is the only fed one. So they literally just 5-manned Irelia and then won the 4v4 afterward because Irelia would always get a kill. But Return of the Middle Sticks just kind of took their brains out during that game and then just played, oh yeah, Tendies will carry us, when that certainly isn't the case against a better team here like GSM. So I'm going to assume if they don't swap here, Tendy should have a fairly easy lane. He should be able to build an advantage, if not solo kill. Even if they swap, I think Tendy still has a fairly easy lane. Rumble can do some stuff, but I don't think he can 1v1 an Irelia who dives. But what we're really looking at here is how does Return of the Middlesticks play when they're ahead through Tendies in the top lane? Because when they're ahead through Tendies in the jungle, they translate it to the rest of the map. They take objectives and they push turrets and they win team fights. But how do they do it in the top lane? Will they be able to translate that successfully? Because they haven't yet.
Yeah, we will be interesting to see a lot of AP heavy drafts from GSM side as well. So that means it's easy pickings for Ornn, who has that little extra bit of magic resist thanks to his passive, alongside of just everyone is able to build these magic resist items pretty well. Other than the Ashe, but I mean, Ashe gets a wit's end, and it's not necessarily the worst thing ever. It's a lot of magic resist in order to deal with the team.
Yeah, so we are getting into the game here just now. The spectator delay is out. So we're into game 2, and we're gonna see if Return to the Middlesticks can finish it out quickly, send us all to bed, or, I mean, just send us all back to the LCS stream to see the final game. Can't believe I missed the TSM Cloud9 game for this. But we've got some...
You don't want to see?
What, I don't want to see GSM versus Return to the Middlesticks?
This is quite an exciting match in itself. I mean, we're seeing AP Shyvana jungle, and Tenny's flexing back to the top side, and Ornn, well, it's Ornn.
Well, I mean, true. I guess Balls and High are, Balls and Meteos are never going to swap lanes in a match. But here we are in game 2, and I'm here to introduce the blue side. We've got Gecko Slammer, Armageddon, GSM, USA's team, General Vici in the top lane on the Kale, Shiny Bidoof in the jungle on Volibear, Ivenifer in the mid lane on Rumble, and Ian Hong and Catalyst 7401 in the bot lane on Ezreal and Bard.
And on the red side, we have Return of the Middlesticks. Liposuction in lane in the jungle playing Shyvana. Pretty interesting flex. I started with that because he was on the first one. I forgot to switch it. But then we have Tendies in the top lane, that Dane Dude in the mid lane. Tendies on the top lane playing Irelia, that Dane Dude playing Ornn, and the bot lane we have Prodigium and Matson playing the Ashe Lulu.
Yeah, I really don't blame you for messing that up, because I was thinking, and liposuction lane in the top lane on jungle on Shyvana, and then the Ornn messes things up even more, and it's just, Return of the Middlesticks is doing their thing, and we're just confused. We're all left here to be confused for the rest of the game. Luckily, there is no level 1 action, and not even deep wards, so this seems like it'll be a pretty quiet early game here for the junglers. And it's Volibear versus Shyvana. I don't think they really want to ruin each other's days until 5 minutes when they go for dragons.
Yeah. And speaking of not too much happening, we see that Ian Hong actually opted in for the Cole, thinking that since they don't really have too much engage, we're not going to engage too much. They do still have the poke potential, but it's not going to be as strong since he did opt in for Cole rather than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, the Cole, you've got extra damage here. Oh, Prodigium already getting some damage off on Ian Hong. He's running him down and will force the flash so early here at 2 minutes. Meanwhile, on the rest of the map, we do see that Ivenifer and General Vici have already swapped lanes, just like you said, keeping Tendies away from that squishy early game. Not great in the early game Kale. So I went ahead and swapped him on the scoreboard there, just so we can compare the CS a little bit better.
Yeah, right now Yennefer's not having the funnest of times, especially because Yennefer opted in to grab the electrified harpoons first instead of grabbing that flamethrower, which punishes Tendies a little bit more.
Yeah, and Tendies is even going to take a turret shot, so that's an easy first blood there for GSM, and I was going to talk about how Ivenifer wasn't faring much better than General Vici would, but that's good to see that Shiny Bidoof anticipates his team's needs, and he's going to go for him. It's a good thing to see when you've got two lanes that are just going to get beaten up by this Irelia.
Yeah, playing to a little strengths. Rumble does have a little bit better time since he has that flamethrower, and so you can get some free poke in without drawing the minion aggro, thanks to that flamethrower. But not picking that first kind of hurted his trades against Tendies, since Tendies reached that level 2 before him.
Oh, and Tendi's now at a level disadvantage. He's taking so much damage and a solo kill coming through. Meanwhile, Shiny Bidoof is here for that dang dude. The bear is fighting the goat and General Vici. He will not find himself a kill, but he finds himself a lot of lane dominance over this Ornn.
And breathing room is necessarily what you need for as a KO. You get a little bit of that breathing room, you reach that level 6 point, you start becoming more and more of a champion. While on bot side, we're just having some small, short trades. Catalyst taking quite the hit, though.
Good news for Bard is he's got that built-in sustain. All of his Ws are really good at keeping him alive. Meanwhile, Ian Hong, he's got 27 CS, so he is doing fairly well, and now the Shiny Bidoof is here for a return gank. He will force Tendi's flash and even get some damage with that E, and this is just looking good for GSM early game. They're playing the map really smart for their early disadvantage.
Yeah, but not to count return Middlesticks out, even though they have that super strong Irelia, they do have a really good late game as well. That mid game Irelia into late game is going to do quite well for them. And then also having that Ashe and Lulu combo means that they'll do quite well into this late game. So it's not necessarily a game about scaling or about the early game anymore, stalling out the early game, but seeing how they'll fare into this late game as well is what we're going to be probably seeing this game.
Yeah, I mean, Ezreal, he is one of the better late-game ADCs just because he's so individually safe and strong. He does so much damage. Kayle, of course, at level 16 kind of turns into a Kassadin of sorts, where she can just dish out a billion damage without anyone being able to stop her. The Rumble as well, as long as he's got good ults, he continues to remain relevant until, you know, very, very, I mean, infinitely late in the game. And Bard's utility is never measured by length of the game, it's really measured more by the fact that he's Bard and can he hit the things that he needs to hit. Now, Yennefer going in on Tendies, he's just going to beat him down for another solo kill. Meanwhile, Shiny Bidoof is going to have to flash away, and General Vici's here, but he will not be able to find anything. Teleport for teleport there in the mid lane.
And knowing that the Shiny Bidoof is in the bot side, it looks like Slipo is looking for a little counter jungling to push his advantage a little bit for his team.
Yeah, he does have a 14 CS lead over the Shiny Bidoof here. It looks like he's going to be able to get Gromp as well. It is 6 minutes and 20 seconds now, and so far Liposuction Lane hasn't made any moves toward that Ocean Drake. That is something that most Shyvana players would have at least gone for at this point, especially with the vision control that they have over the pit. Of course, the map state isn't necessarily conducive to Liposuction Lane with that 4v4, or 4v3 in the bot lane. And now Tendies, we see, has swapped to match General Vici, who's now at level 6, so this is a much more even matchup for the Kayle.
Yeah, a much better matchup because you have that range, a little bit of that range advantage, even though Tendies has the option to go of closing the gap in very easily. Just being a little range helps out a ton.
Oh, and there we go. General Vici moved up to the top lane. Yennefer moved into the mid lane. So really nothing's changed except for the fact that the roams are a little bit stronger for Tendies now. General Vici's just having the time of his life here against the Ornn. And I'm not going to change the thing anymore. I'm not going to change the scoreboard, because that'll just get too confusing for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, it's still the same lane of...
Okay, luckily for Liposuction Lane. Luckily for Lane, he did manage to get that blue buff. If he had lost that, that would have been very unfortunate indeed. But now, Yennefer going to be aggressed on Shiny Bidoof, going to get the stun off. Tendies trying to move forward. He does not have his flash. The Equalizer comes out, and it will burn Tendies down. Catalyst with the kill credit. It's 4-0 for GSM.
Yeah, this is quite the different story than last game. We saw last game not too much was turning out for the side of GSM, but now it's has completely turned on its head.
Yeah, and I mean, Shiny Bidoof, he is at a very heavy disadvantage in terms of CS, but he's been able to affect the map so much more here. Meanwhile, Yevenifer, one lane super hard against Tendies. That first kill really just set him rolling, and now he can actually solo kill the Irelia. Even General Vici is doing perfectly fine, staying even or even a little bit ahead in CS against Dat Dang Dude. So, GSM, they've managed to take all of their early game weaknesses and actually just work them into strengths here. It's something that I really haven't seen against a team who's so dominant as Return of the Middle Sticks, at least against, at least being able to punish teams like this. They're unprecedentedly good in this game. And I may have spoken too soon, because Yevenifer is silenced, he's going to go very low, but Liposuction Lane is going to have to flash away. Volibear coming in for the bear drop. He's a drop bear, I guess.
Ooh, that was really close. Jennifer was kind of playing with fire, walking up that close for the minions, knowing that the Shyvana's right there, had the fireball ready, or at least got the fireball ready, and luckily was able to get away before it dropped.
Hell, he was literally playing with fire. He used the Flame Spitter as his final ability before he was. Oh, wow, Ian Hong. Okay, you do you, man.
And now Yennefer in the bot lane too, looking for some action.
Yeah, and Maximus may just burn down here. One more tick, it will do it. Yennefer on a killing spree, 6-0 now for GSM and a 2k gold lead here at 10 minutes.
Yeah, it looks like this lane swap has actually gone in favor of GSM since Tendies decided, let me move down the mid lane. But then that just meant that Yennefer is in the mid lane with all these kills, and he's like, hey, I could move my influence around to the bot lane now, or back to the top lane. I don't have to be restricted just to the top side of the map.
So the one thing I do want to mention after that is that Yevenifer did commit teleport for that, and now Tendi's trying to go in, trying to find another solo kill. Catalyst has bought enough time, but he may be in the wrong location. He is going to do a lot of damage, and now Prodigium's ultimate, it will whiff. That will be the end of that 2v2. And, oh, the bear's coming in. Maximus going to get a slow off, but it looks like GSM and Return of the Middle Sticks are at odds. Catalyst now going to get Polymorph jumped on. The ultimate comes out from General Vici's Kale. Shiny Bidoof can come in. Yevenifer is in the thick of it, and Tendies is going to go down. General Vici picking up his first kill of the game. And that is another one trade for GSM, and it may not be over because Maximus is burning so low. One more hit from basically anything will do it. The flash forward by Shiny Bidoof. Ian Hong takes the kill on the Lulu. Prodigium goes down as well, and GSM are unstoppable here in the early game.
Are you sure we just don't have like a summoner named Glitch and blue side's actually Return to Middle Sticks? Because this early game is just screaming Return to Middle Sticks right now.
They look so strong, they're so aggressive, and they're pushing these leads in a way that Return of the Middle Sticks exactly was last game. Now, Liposuction Lane has the ultimate, but not enough Fury to activate it. And unfortunately for Return of the Middle Sticks, they won't be able to find anything here. They're 4,500 gold down. Ian Hong is taking solo turret plates in the bot lane. And with the dragon coming up in a minute and a half, GSM has all of the tools that they need to take the rest of this early game and just kind of push it further and further so that Return of the Middle Sticks just can't come back.
Yeah, this is turning out to quite the insane of a game. We have a dragon, or a minute left till dragon. I was about to say a dragon till minute.
Are you sure we don't have a dragon till minute? Because
well,
with how nonsensically backwards this game has been so far, I would not be surprised. And now Catalyst has found himself picked, or Maximus has found himself picked by Catalyst, my mistake. And with 40 seconds left on the dragon,
everything is going backwards.
Yeah, everything is just everything. My brain is in opposite land right now. Because it's a 5k deficit here for Return of the Middle Sticks, and it's very similar to what we saw last time. General Vici, he does not have the ultimate, so he will be forced to flash, but he has drawn two members of Return of the Middle Sticks to the top lane with Dragon up in just a couple seconds here.
Yeah, while the rest of the team of GSM is already in the area, they'll be able to take a nice clean Dragon and moving on to whatever the Elemental Rift will be for this game.
Yeah, and it will either be Mountain like last game or Cloud, and either of them really works out well for GSM here. Mountain just makes everything a little bit better, but Cloud, that makes, you know, Bard, Volibear in particular, Kale, and Rumble. All of them super strong with a Cloud Soul, and these are very impactful ultimates that you're going to want. But now, another impactful ultimate, the Oranhorn comes out. General Vici has the ultimate. He will use it. Tendies is going to get hit by the turret shots, and General Vici going to find 1 kill. Can he find 2? Tendies, he's going to die to the turret!
Oh.
Pog champ, a 2 for 1 by General Vici.
Is the biggest Pog I've seen this split. The Kale, not level 16 Kale, just a Kale still working its way up to you know, being a full-fledged champion in the half, and just be able to get a double kill being dove under tower by an Aurelia. I hate Aurelius. I play Xerath a lot. Aurelia is a huge counter against that, so I love seeing this.
That was a 1-item no boots Kale. She bought the boots off of that double kill. That's...
I thought she bought Boots' first item, and then she just bought the headset Gunblade.
Oh, well, I wasn't even paying attention. I assumed that she bought Gunblade first, but if she bought Gunblade second, that was a Boots Kale winning a 2v1 because of a botched dive there by Return of the Middlesticks. And now the gold lead is stretched to 6k, maybe 7 as this mid turret goes down. It is so close. And it just doesn't look like Return of the Middlesticks is able to find anything with these forces that they're trying, and now Prodigium is going to go down as well. Or it's just going to be Maximus for a 4th time.
I mean, Return of the Middlesticks was able to get on the board with that tower dive Kale, but they're still not really seeing too many results off of that. They have most of their outer towers down now, while that thing dude is trying to work on that top tower, but Yennefer's right here trying to respond.
Yeah, the Equalizer actually goes wide, is not going to be able to find a good one onto Dat Dang Dude. Yennefer is silenced for a second, but Catalyst is here. Dat Dang Dude, he's going to go down, and Catalyst only getting the assist credit. One thing I do want to highlight there is when Dat Dang Dude went for the charge, Yennefer actually swapped the other way and looked at where the Ornn was charging in order to get the little bit of extra damage from his flamethrower. I'm not sure if that really made a difference, but it was just kind of neat to watch. Meanwhile, Tendies has just teleported to his death. Buddy, what are you doing?
It was a pretty smart, it looked like it was going to be a smart play. We saw Tendies disconnect right now, but we saw that ooh, wow, is that
that's a surrender.
Oh, 15-minute surrender to GSM, the scaling team. I wouldn't have imagined it.
We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be back and try and unpack all of what happened in the last game in the champion select of the next one. Because honestly, we're just as surprised as you are. So don't go anywhere, because we'll be right back.
Bye.
All right, and we are back with yet again another GSM Blue side after what could very easily be called the most confusing game of playoffs.
Yeah, I could have sworn it was GSM Blue side, Return to Mills Red side, and I saw a scaling comp, but then I must have missed the entire early game because it looked like everyone was already mid game.
Right? I mean, GSM just smacked that early game so hard with the scaling comp nonetheless. I mean, the Kale 2v1 dived in top lane, and he managed to get a double kill before going down. Like, I. I actually chatted with Shiny Bidoof between those games. I was like, dude, what the hell was that? And he said, we're going to teach them to put Tendies where he doesn't belong.
Yeah, he is like you can't disrespect the Shiny Bidoof that much. You gotta at least put your jungle in the jungle spot.
Yeah, it's like put your jungle in the jungle spot, put your top in the top spot, or General Vici and Shiny Bidoof will have words and they will throw hands. But I'd like to see what Return of the Middle Sticks does differently in draft, because to me that wasn't really a draft problem, it was just a complete lack of execution there on the side of Return of the Middle Sticks.
Oh, what do you mean? It's confirmed. Lulu is a cursed first pick. You never do it.
Well, I mean, if GSM picks Lulu first, we know who's winning this game. If Return of the Middle Sticks decide to lock it, I have to question their sanity after this last game. I mean, like, honestly, the bot lane wasn't the problem there in either game, really. The Lulu duo, the Lulu Ashe was not the problem in either of those two games. It just seemed like the team that had the Lulu was cursed that their top side wouldn't do well. But with the Leona banned away from Maximus, we'll have to see if Return of the Middle Sticks repeats history, and if they're going to take away... Oh man, I can't even remember what it was.
Well, we're not seeing an Echo band anymore, but we do see an Ezreal band right here.
Well, that makes sense.
I can't remember what was Return to Mythics.
Yeah, just the strength of Ian Hong being able to kind of solo that. Catalyst did roam a lot. The directed cam actually never really went down to bot lane, and that's because Ian Hong was doing such a good job of staying safe. Catalyst kept coming mid, he kept throwing his ultimates, but the Volibear, another first pick for GSM, we can assume that this is probably going into the jungle, barring a really good Volibear counterpick top.
And they did it again.
Wrap it up, boys. Return to the Middle Sticks lost.
But Echo locked in now.
Ooh, that could make things different if they lock Ashe though.
Yeah.
But the Kindred Irelia hovers here.
Yeah. You know, they can't do the Lulu hovers now because the Lulu is locked in. But these Kindred Irelia hovers to before they go ahead and lock in their real picks, which is the Ashe.
Are you kidding me? Then how? Okay, so either it's the Lulu or the Ashe that's cursed, and we won't know, or I suppose we'll know at the end of this game when one team loses. But otherwise, you could have just said, yeah, it's one of them. I don't know. That team loses.
I was thinking that, you know, maybe Echo would be a reverse, you know, like an Uno reverse card, you know, instead of bad luck on us, bad luck on you. But now they picked the Ashe and a Soraka. Okay, cool.
And again, I really like this Soraka pick because so far the bot lanes of either team, with the one exception of that one weird giant fight that they had in bot lane in game 1, bot lane hasn't really gotten any focus as 2v2 or even ganking. It's really been all along the top side with some solo kills, with some ganks early. It is going to be a Kog'Maw Lulu, maybe a little more Juggermaw composition if they get a more supportive top lane or mid lane. We don't know where the Echo's going yet. Good flex pick here for Return to the Middle Sticks. But the Soraka, I think, can affect the map really well for GSM, and they just want to pick kind of brawly, early mid-game focused jungle, top, mid.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to go. Return to Middle States is going to ban away the Rumble, which did quite a bit of work. I mean, he was 3-0-2 at some point in the game. That's all I remember. And doing quite a bit of work. They went ahead and switched lanes, where Yennefer was back in the mid lane, putting a lot of influence, went to bot lane, got a double kill for his team. And the Maokai is going to be banned out now.
It's an interesting one that I don't. I mean, Liposuction Lane does play the Maokai. He is also a tanky top lane player, so they just want to make sure that they can keep him from getting on top of that hyper tank. Kog'Maw is the late game win condition here for Return of the Middle Sticks, so I think GSM is going to have to focus on maybe, messing up that Kog'Maw, delaying his build path a little bit more. Meanwhile, Return of the Middle Sticks needs to pick some strong solo laners in order to make sure that the Kog'Maw has room to scale, so that hopefully the Shiny Bidoof will be occupied with the solo lanes. Ornn is a great example. Malphite can easily be counterpicked. I'm very confused about this Malphite.
I would even argue that Volibear is a really good pick against a Malphite because he has so much AP damage in his kit, where all that extra armor isn't really doing too much because you have all this magic damage that just shred right through. I'm pretty sure your W is magic damage, E's magic damage, Q's physical, I believe, and ult's also magic damage.
Yeah, and the biggest one was we actually saw the Malphite Volibear matchup in LEC this past week, and I think Vedius just roasted the team that picked Malphite because it is one of the worst picks. No, actually, no, it was Malphite into Gangplank, but still, it stood because Vedius was roasting him for Malphite is the single worst thing you could pick into Gangplank because you've got one of the weakest side top laners in Gangplank, and you said, okay, well, I'm just going to pick Malphite. And now Cho'Gath is going to be able to solo kill so well because every single bit of damage he has is magic damage. The armor will not be able to do anything against that, and Malphite doesn't scale off of magic resist, so you're really kind of losing out in those armor gains by building against a Cho'Gath. Twisted Fate as well, being able to affect the map, global style. GSM has overall big team composition for supporting each other because you've got Shiny Bidoof and General Vici on these tanky bruisery threats. You've got Ian Hong and Ian Hong and Catalyst on this kind of safe, peeling, self-peeling kiting duo, and then Yennefer on Twisted Fate in order to help the rest of the team wherever they need to be.
Yeah, they have a lot of power in terms of roams. Volibear is really good at roaming, especially as a jungler, I should say. Just because he has the doubled movement speed whenever he's running towards an enemy champion with his Q. So it's really hard to stop a lot of his ganks. And then Twisted Fate using the ultimate really helps out a ton, but not to say that Return to the States is completely out of it. The Malphite is a bit of a questionable pick, but he does always have the ultimate to provide a lot of good CC. 10 days on Echo means that it's a strong early game jungler. Really can push out some of these advantages. Maybe not win out in duels against the Volibear, a little tankier unit, but will be able to provide a lot of good ganks to the mid or bot side. Maybe even to help out top side, or he might just leave top side out as a little island and say good luck while he makes the rest of the team fed because he has a Kog'Maw strong hyper carry, or even Vel'Koz really good in the mid game and late game, where to dish out some of this true damage to get through to some of these tanks and really dish out some damage to these carries in the backline.
Yeah, so my first thought when I looked at the Return of the Middle Sticks team comp as a whole was just full wombo combo. I mean, you've got Malphite ult into Vel'Koz into Kog'Maw getting to Free Fire, and Lulu to just hit Wild Growth on anything that she needs. Meanwhile, the Echo is able to help assassinate. You can do that on any of the three of the bottom side, Yennefer, Ian Hong, or Catalyst, on all three of those squishier champions, especially since Echo has a lot of safety built into his kit late game. He can try and steal objectives, he can try and go for assassinations. He's got a lot of wiggle room, which I think Tendies really needs in a matchup such as this, or at least in a team matchup such as this, where one mistake can really cost you the game. In addition, as you said, the Echo, really good early game jungler because he provides a lot of CC and a lot of sticking power that Vel'Koz lacks, and then Kog'Maw as well lacks. So if Tendies can play out of his mind here, I think Return of the Middle Sticks can keep it even, keep themselves a little bit ahead going into the late game, and as long as they're not losing out hard on neutral objectives, then they should be able to take this late game with their huge wombo combo against the two big damage dealers, the two sustained damage dealers of GSM.
Yeah, I'd be really interested to see with these, recent Kog'Maw buffs, not this patch, but last patch, if that changes Kog'Maw's build just a slightly bit, maybe getting a Nashor's Tooth to get sustain some of that AP damage that you also get. But we might just see the typical build where he's going for the Blader and King, Gunzos, and maybe even a Wit's End because there is a lot of magic damage on the side of GSM.
Yeah, I mean, between the Valkaz, the Echo, Return of the Middle Sticks just has so much